Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update for everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. So, today is October 14th, and it's a Friday, which means I'm not going to have episodes for the next 2 days. I don't really have time to go through what happened yesterday because there's just so much stuff to talk about today. So, on that note, let's just get started. So, here we have this tweet from Anthony Sassal, who says home stakers are the bleeding heart of Ethereum. Sorry, the beating heart of Ethereum, which is a really nice thing to say. And like home stakers obviously are the reason why Ethereum staking was designed the way it was. So home stakers could be maximized. They're the gold standard of staking. So why am I starting with this? Well, in the last 24 hours, like yesterday, I kind of mentioned the stuff that started with Lido Bogota about Vasily saying that home stakers are irrational. Anyway, in that time, I just want to give a huge shout out to the Rocket Pool Intern, because some of the work that the intern has done over the last 24 to 48 hours has been absolutely like fire. Really, really good stuff that they're putting out there just to show the vast difference between the foundational ideology of Lido compared to Rocket Pool. And a lot of the community have gotten involved with this and kind of pushed this and really contributed to bringing home that point. So we're going to start off with something a little bit light first, like just share some of the memes that the intern has been sharing. So we have this meme, there's a quote that says, "Solo staking on Ethereum is the gold standard for staking. It provides full participation rewards, improves the decentralization network, and never requires trusting anyone else with your funds." And that's from the Ethereum Foundation. And then there's this meme of a person catching a balloon. It's Ethereum catching decentralization. And then Lido is kind of holding that person back. And, it's their legitimate concern to decentralization of Ethereum. So we have this other meme. It's a bonus meme. And there's an image. It says, "I finally found it after 15 years. It's a person looking for a treasure chest." And it says the scroll of truth. And on the scroll, it says, "Solo staking on Ethereum is the gold standard for staking." And it's Lido. And then they're throwing the scroll away and saying, "No." Sorry about that. Another meme we have, home stakers and hobbyists home stakers are hobbyists who are not rational and do it for fun. And it's like from Despicable Me, and there's Gru holding up the notice board meme, and it says they should get into the set of big boys and grow up, and most of the stake should be managed by professional node operators. And those are quotes from Vasily. And then Gru looks at the board and it says 7,390 of your validators are offline, which is what happened during the merge when Bridgewater Capital went offline for a number of days, and it was really embarrassing for them. And then there's another meme from the intern who says home stakers are hobbyists who are not rational and do it for fun. They should get into the set of big boys and grow up, and most of the stake should be managed by professional operators. And it's the same caption again, 7,390 of your professional validators are offline. So the intern on top of that was like retweeting really great stuff. So here there's a post as well, like, "Never forget how Bridgewater Capital failed to upgrade for the Bellatrix hard fork on September 6th, 22nd, and followed the wrong chain for 8 hours. Mahan picked professional validators." And then there's a home staker who's like the Chad dog, and then Lido, the crying like beta dog, which has like 7,400 validators offline. So it wasn't just memes though. There was some really good discussion happening as well. Oh, sorry, there's one more meme. The Rocket Pool makes it easy to stake from home. The Rocket Pool Smart Node Stack software can get your ETH validator up and running with just 4 command entries. That's how you help to promote small and independent stakers. And then the name of the panel that Vasily spoke on was promoting small and independent stakers. And the Uno card says promote small and independent stakers, or draw 25 cards. And there's a picture of the guy with like 100 cards in his hand. So one comment I want to make is, so here we have Lido's effectiveness, and on screen I'm showing their effectiveness being 96.3%. And then there's my node right here, which is showing an effectiveness rating of 97.2%. So even though I'm a irrational home staker, my stake is more effective than the Lido stake. So with their 30 million ETH that they're staking, no, not 30 million ETH, sorry, 30% of the ETH network that they're staking, my validator is more effective than theirs, even though I'm a hobbyist. So that tells you everything about how terrible the argument was. One of the tweets that really caught a lot of attention, and it's the one that Anthony Sassal led with on the Daily Grade today. He said, "Holy shit, here's Lido Finance on the topic of solo node operators." And then there's a YouTube video. "We think that most of the stakes should be managed by professional operators. Most solo operators are not rational, they do it for fun." And then there's a video clip that you can watch that I'm not going to play now. It says, "If you want to do it for a day job, they should have the ability to earn their reputation, earn the metrics required to get into the set of big boys and grow up. Maybe even worse, and it's not true, performance is comparable for solo operators versus professionals." And then there's a image that Butter shared, and Lido's average APR for 31 days is 5.60%, and for Rocket Pool is 5.55%. So the APR for Rocket Pool is like less than 0.01% less than Lido's. It's just incredible difference. And then Marceau goes on to say, this type of language is basically an attack on the principles of decentralization. The fact that this organization has 30% of all staked ETH is knocking on the doorstep of an economic attack against Ethereum is frankly embarrassing and should be a wake-up call for the community. And while I'd love to give the benefit of the doubt, this rhetoric is so inflammatory and condescending that I can't reasonably assume Lido is acting in good faith." And then Ben Eddington, who is a very prominent figure in the Ethereum community, retweeted Marceau and says, "I'm going to be generous here and apply Hanniabu's razor that Lido Finance simply don't get it, but it's getting increasingly hard not to conclude that they are bad faith actors." So other people in the community are starting to see it now. We had a lot of prominent community members retweeting Marceau or liking the comment and making similar comments as well. And Ben Eddington, Izzy from Lido, who works for Lido and is a part of, comes and checks in on the Rocket Pool community and trading and stuff at times, and we're going to be talking about that later, said, "It's not about performance, it's about cost. Solo stakers can only ever be considered profitable if they value their time and effort at zero." And Ben says, "I hate these arguments if they value their time at zero. They are coherent only if we also value any knowledge gained or pleasure experience at zero. And if we apply that measure to our lives, we might as well give it up being human." And then we had this other comment from Superfizz, who says, "Scrappy home operators who tinker and break shit all day long are better than highly performant corporate operators." And we had this tweet from Jasper, who says, "Lido Finance is trying to make solo node operation on Ethereum seem scary, seem unprofitable, seem not worth it. Don't let them scare you. You own Ethereum, not Lido." And then there's Brunny.eth, who says, "Why does it depend on solo stakers losing money? It's obvious that solo stakers perform significantly. Is it obvious that solo stakers perform significantly worse than pools?" And Izzy, the same person again who works for Lido, says, "No, it's not about performance, it's about cost, i.e. solo stakers can only ever be considered profitable if they value their time and effort at zero," which is the tweet I just read out. And Josh says, "That's a weak argument. I set up my solo validator with about 4 hours of actual time spent dedicated, and I've spent maybe half an hour maintaining it in the past month. I expect this to be quite profitable, and I value my time quite highly." And I made a tweet that said, let me just get this here for you. Staking hardware cost me less than $1,000, which is actually on the high end. You can do it for less than half that price. The ETH I'm staking cost me less than $10,000. The minimum amount of Rocket Pool I needed to run a Rocket Pool node is less than $3,000. And I've already broken even my cost overall. I spend 10 minutes a week maintaining my node. This is easy AF. And then let's get to some of the stuff that was happening in trading. So obviously the discussion was happening. A lot of people was Lido people, there were tweets being shared of their comments that were being made on Twitter, and people were quite upset about it. And then Freeborn came into trading. It was at 7:48 a.m. Eastern time, if anyone wants to go and have a look. And then Izzy came in, so hi Izzy. And then Izzy just basically started to defend Lido's positions, defend Vasili's comments, and other people were kind of like responding and getting into discussion with Izzy. Invis was doing it, Letters was talking for quite a while, Pieter was doing it, Waldorf was in there making comments, and I think Waldorf was one of the people who was like the most charitable in total, and kind of trying to understand some of the positions. However, Izzy's comments, like, you know, Izzy was not backing up his comments with, like, he made an allusion to, like, you know, the internal calculations showing the numbers and stuff, and wasn't sharing those numbers, but still, like, was making quite a lot of points. So it was quite a heated discussion. It went on for a few hours, as long as Izzy was in there. And I'm just trying to find the comment from Waldorf about profitability. Here it is. It says, it's not though. Your time takes, say, from you 5% holding rETH to 7% at $1,600 ETH. With 16 ETH, you're valuing your time at $20 a month and not valuing hardware upfront learning costs at all. So Waldorf was trying to be charitable to Izzy's comments. However, other people were a lot less charitable. And this says Izzy's basically saying that solo staking makes no sense, in which case he chose the wrong chain. And then Pieter's comment says they don't really care about making solo staking sustainable. It's just a business that sees money to be made. It's fair to say that solo staking incentives aren't perfect, but a stretch to claim it's net negative. We had more comments from wait, which one was this one? Whisker says the idea that people are doing it as a hobby, less useful to network, is both patronizing and incorrect. And then Invis said, so what's your take on, we think most of the stakes should be managed by professional operators. And Izzy for this said, I honestly hope he misspoke there, which is just such a, yeah, like, I'm very disappointed by that reply, and obviously with the comment to begin with, but I mean, like, that's totally undefendable. Even a Lido employee is not defending that comment, so much so that I hope he misspoke, which obviously is going to be the argument that's made. And then Waldorf actually, like, responds to that. He says, I hope so too, but it flowed smoothly in context, so I don't believe that, which is my position as well. And Sleety then comes in and, like, talking about like Izzy being in trading, trying to defend Lido. And he says, imagine your job was to convince people that permissionless solutions like Rocket Pool were less healthy for Ethereum than jumping into bed with Lido. Marceau had this tweet. I said, Lido's lieutenants trying to dance around what Vasily said, and there's like the narcissist prayer, which is, he didn't say that, and if he did, he didn't mean that, and if he did, you didn't understand it, and if you did, it's not a big deal, and if it is, others have done it worse, or others have said it worse. So that obviously is the narcissist prayer, and like, there's only so much you can try to do to, like, justify the comments that came from Vasily. Moving on from that now, well, kind of, Kevster had this idea for a new hashtag out of the video. He says, you shared a screenshot of your effectiveness and compare it to Lido and Coinbase. Then you use irrational home staker or irrational staker or something. It's maybe too aggressive for Fizz's liking, but it could be cool to see all kinds of people raise their voices. So that's what that's the tweet, the comment that Kevster put out. That's the tweet that I put out this morning. So, kind of following on from Kevster's lead there, because there are an awful lot of us who are more effective stakers than Lido, you know. So it's really bad for them to say that. Okay, so now moving on, Hanniabu.eth came into trading, who hasn't been in trading around for a while, but is a very prominent member of the community on the longer term. I said, hey mate, I've just been taking advantage of the bear market to take some time away from the computer. Currently working on updating the community site to put it on GitHub and launch under rocketpool.community. So then they said a screenshot of one of the page would look like, and here's a page of all the different community, Rocket Pool community POAPs that were distributed and that were, you know, linked to Rocket Pool, which is really cool to see. And it's just an example of what the page looks like. If you actually go to the website, there's nothing there at the moment, but he was saying I'm integrating a resource list as well, and he reached out to me yesterday asking if rocket fuel could be included on that, and I said yes please, that would be really great. And yeah, it's really great that, you know, Hanniabu is doing this, and I think I'm really excited to see what it's going to look like once it finishes. Let's have a look next. LogicBeach also was in trading yesterday, and for the first time after a while. Like, they're coming once in a while to share like some of the stuff that they're working on, but they've obviously not been around for a while, because Stephen L asked, you know, why are people mentioning 20% commission? I thought it was only 15%. So then LogicBeach explained that the commission used to fluctuate, and depending on rETH demand, it used to vacillate between 5% and 20%. And LogicBeach explains that, you know, they set up their node at 5% like a real winner, and our favorite Marceau also set up a bunch of nodes at 5%. So then Next Tech says LEB8's coming in to save the day, and LogicBeach was like, what? LEB8s? Like, what is that? And obviously that's less ETH bonded mini pools with 8 ETH required as collateral from the node operator. And Next Tech explained what that means, right? 8 ETH mini pools coming, and when LEB8, so it kind of becomes a discussion about LEB8s, and Rocket Doc here explained that LEB8 are the low ETH bonded mini pools requiring 8 ETH from node operator, borrowing 24 from the deposit pool, and collateral by minimum 2.4 ETH worth of RPL. They're not referring to lottery blocks, and are aimed for release with Atlas, hopefully in Q4 this year. So your current validators can your current one validator can then turn into 2 validators, which is really great. And then LogicBeach asked if I could withdraw, exit, and re-queue, right? Or is this for existing mini pools of 16 ETH 2 in some way? And then Marceau says no need to exit. You can convert your existing 16 ETH mini pools to LEBs. So that's the idea at the moment, and that's what we're hoping will happen, and we think will happen. But obviously the coding isn't done yet, so it might not work out that way in practice, but that's what we hope will happen. And then Rocket Doc says hence insufficiently bullish. And then LogicBeach says, okay, forgive me Rocketeers, for I have been insufficiently bullish, and then change their username to LogicBeach.insufficiently bullish. So that's really great that you know, we're able to explain to members of the community, people who may not have been around so much recently, that this is a huge development that's happening. And someone was talking about the commission rates, about how it'll be more profitable to become a LEB8 mini pool operator at a fixed 14% commission, even if you currently have a 16 plus 1.6 ETH mini pool at 20% commission. So it's really great that, you know, this is going to be a win-win for everyone. D2 shared this comment related to the Arrow DAO vote that passed a couple of weeks ago about them depositing their ETH into rETH. So following an overwhelming DAO snapshot vote in favor, Arrow Air just deposited 500 ETH from its treasury into rETH, and tagged Thomas with that. And yeah, it's really great that, you know, more and more DAOs are swapping their treasury ETH for rETH, because it means that their previous ETH that was sat ineffective is now effective and earning a nice like 5.5% yield on that. And that is amazing. You know, like if you've got 500 ETH, that is approximately like $600,000. So you're making about $30,000, no, like nearly $40,000 for nothing, so, which is really fantastic. And then we have an update from Bogota. Ken shared this picture. He just said, I just learned that Nimbus has a mode that allows a Nimbus VC to talk to multiple BCs to get the consensus vote among them as to what is the source, target, and head. It sounds cool. And then there's a picture of Ken here on the right, I presume talking to people from the Nimbus team, which is really great. I run Nimbus on my node, so it's always good to see that Nimbus are like doing cool stuff out there. And finally, I'm going to finish with some Hopium, and this like is Hopium from the highest source. So Justin Drake was speaking at DevCon Bogota, and Polynya, who is a huge favorite of people from ETH Finance and as liberocist, and from Twitter's Polynya as well. Like, you know, they are huge member of the community, and like their voice carries a lot of weight. He said, our favorite opium peddler Justin Drake casually implying $300,000 ETH. And directionally, I agree with Justin, but I believe Justin's models fail to account for market saturation and diminishing demand growth. Now, this is speculative. Justin would argue that his chart implies log up only, but it's not really even this data. Let me explain. So Justin shared this chart of basically ETH starting at like under $10 and a straight line drawn up from then to now, and it going up only on the log chart, and implying that basically it would head towards $300,000. I don't think he actually mentions the number $300,000, but based on like the big picture summary he provides, it seems like that's the number that kind of you end up with as you do that. And then Polini says, removing the noise, we get a really clean pattern. Now, this is a sample size of 2 or 3, so it doesn't mean much, but there's one interesting observation. Demand growth roughly halved in 2021 compared to 2017. Whether this is base to peak, base to bake, base spec, peak to base, a sample size of 3 is pretty much meaningless, but even in this early data, we can see diminishing growth, market saturation under $100 million, not $1 billion as Justin claims. So I suggest 30,000 is more reasonable target than $300,000 ETH, but of course, many more dynamics at play. So we can just stop the summary there, but Waldorf in trading, I'm sorry I didn't have the comment saved, but he was basically pulling his hair out at this extrapolation, and he loves sharing the XKCD comic where the person extrapolates the number of husbands they're going to have in the future, because yesterday they had 0 husbands, today they have 1 husband, so it's perfectly up in a straight line, like up only, and then in 30 days time they'll have 30 husbands. So Waldorf was like, he hates making these extrapolations. However, I've been accused of being a hopium peddler, so I had to include this. At a $30,000 ETH, let's have a look. 30,000 times 0.0165, which is where we are right now. That's a $500 RPL token. And if we go to where the bullish members of a community think we're going to go, a 0.2 ETH ratio for RPL, then that's $6,000 RPL token, which is, it'll do. It will do. So on that positive note, and stepping away from the drama that has been happening, I'm going to be off for the weekend, so there'll be no updates from me. Please tag me in any comments, any discussions, anything that you see that you think is interesting, and I'll include that in the video on Monday. Remember, I am gathering names of people who have contributed for a POAP, for a monthly contributor POAP. So if you want to be eligible for that, then please help me out, tag me in things, share links with me, and I would really appreciate it. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your, I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.